We'll call to order the House Standing Committee on Appropriations and Revenue, meeting number 5. Today's Tuesday, March the 10th, 2026, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We're in Annex Room 154. If you will please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Present.
Representative Bojanowski.
Here.
Representative Bridges.
Here.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
Here.
Representative Dietz.
Here.
Representative Fleming.
Present.
Representative Freeland.
Here.
Representative Fugit.
Here.
Representative Hart.
Here.
Representative Lockett.
Here.
Representative McPherson.
Here.
Representative Riley. Here. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Present.
Representative Truitt. Here. Representative Upchurch.
Here.
Representative Williams.
Here.
Vice Chair Bowling. Here. Vice Chair Bray.
Present.
Chair Petrie.
Here. We have a quorum. We're duly constituted to do business. But first up, is there a Jaylee Hearn in the audience anywhere? Jaylee Hearn. She was here earlier, shadowing some people, just checking to make sure. Is anybody hiding behind a post and I can't see them? Jaylee Hearn. She stepped out. We'll tell her when she comes back that we're very glad to have her with us, and I hope that she's enjoying the day as she shadows. Thank you very much. Any other member seeking recognition for a special guest or any other introductory comment? Seeing none, we'll take up the agenda. First up, a little out of order today, but we'll take up first House Bill 647, Representative McPherson, an act relating to economic relief for local communities of the Commonwealth and declaring an emergency. If whoever is going to help, if you'll introduce yourselves for the record, make sure those green lights are really green, the microphone's close enough to you.
Representative Shaw McPherson, representing 22nd District.
Representative Josh Bray, House District 71.
Representative Adam Bowling, House District 87.
Very good. If each of you will raise your right hands, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And if I'm looking at this right, on House Bill 647, we do have a committee amendment.
Motion on the committee amendment. Second.
We have a motion and a second on adoption of the committee amendment, which would go to PHS 1, which we'll get to in a minute. But adoption, motion and second, all in favor on the committee amendment? Aye. All opposed? Committee amendment is adopted. We're going to look at, we also have PHS 1.
Motion on PHS 1 as amended by the committee amendment. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Before us, we have PHS 1 as amended by House Committee Amendment on House Bill 647. This is, as I recall, second or third iteration of the government resources accelerating necessary transitions. What is it? Needed transformations. So we have, I think, the third iteration of this at this point. Slight changes. Anything to describe those changes, please?
So the date would change, now go out to December 31st of 2028.
I've got you.
And then the percentages would go from what it was, 1 through 5, would now go to 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10 as the reimbursement.
Okay. Any other major changes? That's all I saw. Representative Bojanowski, you got a comment or a question?
A question, if I may.
Please.
So we're going to double the local match. How will that actually impact maybe our smaller counties, maybe without as much financial resources?
Well, so it's just a slide. It's going from, the qualifications in here talk about the population changes and how you do that. So we're going from 1 through 5. Now we're going skin in the game 2 through 10. This program is about out of money. If we refund it again, it took a while to get it started this time, so we think there'll be more purpose for it, and so we just want some skin in the game.
And to give a concrete example, assume you've got a federal grant of around $10 million that the local applicant's pursuing. There's a 50% local applicant match, so $5 million's on the table. If you go to 2, 4, 6, 8, 10% match, then at most, the most affluent fifth would have to come up with 10% of the 5 million. The state will make the remainder. Is that correct? That would be on the highest end of that. Good question. Anyone else? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second on the bill as is amended. Any other questions? Seeing none, please call roll. That's what I was wondering. Motion and second on the bill still outstanding on the bill as amended. Got a motion? Got a second? Anything else? Please call a roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Pass.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
Pass.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Aye.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley.
Yes.
Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowling.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 647 as amended by PHS 1 with a committee amendment thereon having received 17 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 2 pass votes will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much.
Got a motion to roll the committee amendment into the committee sub?
Have a motion to roll the amendment into the committee sub. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Committee amendment is rolled into the sub, and that's the way it'll pass out of this committee. Thank you very much. Yep. Next up, we're going to take House Bill 501, Transportation Budget. And if we have the two of you on the right and left of the center, still as you are, still under oath, and introduce yourself for the record.
I'm Ken Upchurch, State Representative for the 52nd District.
Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you very much. And we have House Bill 501. There is a PHS 1 on this. Have a motion and a second for adoption of the sub to 501. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Sub is adopted. We have before us House Bill 501 as amended by PHS 1 on the transportation budget. Representative Upchurch, anything you need to relate to us other than what's in the bill and the sub?
This is just the operations budget for the cabinet. Be happy to answer any questions.
Very good. It's a well-worn horse that comes again and again and again. Representative Burke?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was just curious if we've received any feedback from the Transportation Cabinet. We've gotten some late feedback from other entities, and so I'm just wondering if they've provided any feedback on the sub.
I haven't received anything, Mr. Chairman.
I've received nothing on the transportation budget. We've received some late on another item, but not on this one.
Thank you.
And if you have something or you know of something, please let us know, but nothing of which I'm aware. All right, any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? Seeing none, we have a motion in stereo. Do we have a second? Very good. I've got a motion and a second on adoption of 501 as amended by PHS 1. Please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowling.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bray. Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 501 is amended by PHS 1 having received 19 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with a favorable expression that same should pass on the House floor. Thank y'all very much, and if you will remain seated and remain as you are on your introductions and remain under oath, we're going to take up House Bill 502, an act related to road projects and declaring an emergency, affectionately called the 2-year road plan in the money. Representative Upchurch, anything to add on this bill?
Just like you said, this is the 2-year road plan, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Representative Byrd, comment or question?
Yes, a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
Sorry, I got to get to my notes. So looking across the 3 years of funding for Jefferson County and then comparing it to Fayette County, I'm seeing that Fayette County is only receiving 16.5% of the funding that Jefferson County is receiving for the same period. Why is Lexington receiving so little?
Representative Burke, what we sought to do in this road plan as opposed to previous road plans, we only have so many dollars to spend in each of the codes. And in years past, we have over-programmed our road plan by percentages. I think the last overall road plan came in at 102 or 103%. On the SPP dollars, which is dollars that we all, state priority projects that we all pay a lot of attention to, traditionally that's been over-programmed at 140, 150, even 200%, and even more than that. So what we did in this plan was under-programmed it at 98%. And so by doing that, we have pushed out some projects, but tried to keep projects in that we felt could move, and so that's where we're at. So we had $490 million to spend on the SPP projects, and we've appropriated $481 million.
Yeah, please, if you need to.
I appreciate the explanation, and I share your desire to not overextend the Commonwealth. I think we're on the same page. But what your explanation didn't provide me was any clarity on why Jefferson County programs, or projects rather, would be better situated to move, 8 times more likely to move than Fayette County projects.
I'm going to cut to the chase on this. We don't look at county by county except for the way they're organized and the way we look through them. We don't compare county to county outcomes. We don't have pre-planned outcomes. We go by project by project. Sometimes those projects are not as ready as others. And you know what? After the end of session, I usually ask staff to put together a comparison so we can look at trends over time, but it's not considered while the plan is being created.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members seeking comment or question?
Motion on House Bill 502.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on House Bill 502, 2-year road plan in the money. Seeing no other members seeking recognition for comment or question, please call a roll.
Representative Banta.
Present. Oh, yes.
Please refrain all of your responses to yes or no or pass.
Representative Bojanowski.
May I briefly explain my vote?
Very briefly, thanks.
Yes, so I'm going to pass. There's one project in District 32 that I'd like to see kind of moved into the programmed funding, so I'll advocate for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
No.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Yes.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams. Vice Chair Bowling.
Present and yes.
Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. And I'll explain my vote briefly also. There are things I would like to move into House District 16. There are projects I'd like to move all around the state, but we have to look at the entirety of the state and move the plan forward the best we can. I appreciate the work. It remains a yes. House Bill 502, having received 17 yes votes, 1 nay vote, and 2 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. And if each of you will remain as seated, as introduced, remind you that you remain under oath. We will take up House Joint Resolution 75, which is affectionately, but really not so affectionately, called the 6-year road plan, which means you're not in the money. You're on the wish list, and we'll see what happens. House Joint Resolution 75, a joint resolution relating to road projects. There is no PHS committee amendment or otherwise. Representative Upchurch, anything further?
No, sir.
Any members seeking recognition for comment or question? We have a motion and a second on House Joint Resolution 75. Seeing no member seeking recognition for comment or question, please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
Pass.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Aye.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Yes.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams. Vice Chair Bowling.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Joint Resolution 75, having received 18 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 2 pass, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. And then if everyone will remain seated, we'll take up House Joint Resolution 76. Local Assistance Road Program is what this refers to, the LARP program. Remind you, all remain under oath. Anything further on House Joint Resolution 76, Representative Upchurch?
I think we're pretty well explained on what the bill does.
Okay. We have no committee sub, no committee amendments. Any member seeking recognition for comment or question? We have a motion and a second on House Joint Resolution 76. Please call a roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
Pass.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Aye.
Nay. Aye.
Yes.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Yes.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson.
Explain my vote.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Briefly, I'm going to pass so I can have time to read the stack of information that I recently received. It's too important to just vote on without reading.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowling.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Joint Resolution 76, having received 18 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 2 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much. Next, we're going to take up House Bill 869, an act relating to economic development, making an appropriation therefore and declaring an emergency, sponsored by Representative Adam Bowling. This is on economic development, it appears. If you will, acknowledge that you remain under oath.
I am.
You've already introduced yourself for the record. Is there, we do have a PHS 1 on this.
Motion on the PHS 1.
I have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1 to House Bill 869. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We have, PHS 1 is adopted. We now have before us House Bill 869 as amended by PHS 1. Representative Bowling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. House Bill 869, what we're dealing with here is basically the Cabinet for Economic Development, the toolkit they have as far as incentive packages when we're looking to whether bring companies from out of state into Kentucky or already existing companies that are looking for an expansion. We've had ongoing conversations for the last 3 to 4 years, really, with the cabinet.
And speaking of Representative Bowling, if I can take a break for a moment, if I spy out there, the secretary, as well as Mr. Wingate, if you want to come on up, you can always point at at Representative Bowling and go, "That's not true," or "That is true." Come on up if you want. And if you will, just introduce yourself for the record quickly. Make sure the green light's really green.
My name is Jeff Noel, and I'm the Secretary for the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development.
Very good. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Very good. So you're hearing Representative Bowling. If there's anything you need to chime in on, please do so. Please proceed.
Yeah, but basically, these various incentives that we're able to offer when the cabinet goes to a company or when a company comes to the cabinet, you kind of have a buffet, so to speak, of incentive packages. Some may work better than others for certain companies. So some companies may want a little bit more here, a little bit more there. So this is just updating some of the existing options that we have as far as that goes, and just always looking to tweak and make sure we continue the success we've had in economic development in our state going back the last 10 years.
Motion on House Bill 869 as amended by PHS 1.
I have a motion and a second on House Bill 869 as amended by PHS 1. Secretary Noel, anything?
No, sir, we just appreciate the chance to answer questions and provide information to the committee and well as to the chairman and vice chairman's anytime.
Very good, and we appreciate you always be willing to do that. Representative Bojanowski,
Yes.
comment
if I
or question?
May I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So I read the bill and I read the definition of heritage counties, and I'm to just be honest, I still don't understand what it means. Could you explain what a heritage county is?
Sure. Under the definition, we're using the same metrics that we had used for Kentucky Product Development Initiative. We used that scoring criteria in the LART program, which is the Local Area Roads, which was House Joint Resolution 76 that we just passed, I believe, as well as the grant program and others. So it's a metric that's worked well for us. And a heritage is someone that would fall in the bottom 3 tiers of that scoring criteria. Those are the counties that we see ongoing unemployment figures that are above the state average, Medicaid participation, or utilization, which is way above the averages, SNAP, all across the board. So they're just kind of some lagging economic indicators, and we want to make sure that we're looking at those, and if we can lift those counties up, it's going to be a good thing for all our state.
May I ask one more question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there are angel incentives in this bill, correct?
I don't believe that we speak to that program in this bill.
Thank you.
Yes, but that is another, program that's out there, but I don't believe it's addressed in this bill.
Thank you.
Representative Burke, comment or question?
A question, please.
Yes, please.
I'd like to begin by saying I am in favor of the bill, and I am going to vote yes, but I'd just like a little bit of clarification. When I am thinking about economic development in heritage counties, bringing big companies is obviously potentially a great thing, but I am always thinking about housing. Does this bill in any way address the housing shortage that could arise if a large company should move into one of these counties?
That is not included in this bill. However, I know that there are several pieces of legislation as far as housing out there.
Thank you.
Representative Lockett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just had a question about Section 20 of the bill that talks about working with KCTCS, and I think I saw President Quarles back there. I would love to get his input on this as well, kind of what the goal is here and kind of the programs that it talks about in Section 20.
Sure. So we will be presenting House Bill 619 here in a minute, and there's a mirror piece there dealing with this exact provision. The idea is when Secretary Knowles going to pitch Kentucky and we're talking about our workforce, we look at KCTCS as the driver of our workforce in Kentucky. So we want them to have a good relationship. So we're trying to identify staff members to communicate directly with each other. That way, when he's pitching something to some large company that we're wanting to come to Kentucky, we've got the workforce solutions that they need, and we can address those issues as they come up.
And Dr. Quarles, if you'll just introduce yourself for the record.
Ryan Quarles, President, KCTCS.
You'll raise your right hand. You swear affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. Anything else to add to Representative Lockett's question?
We work closely with the Cabinet for Economic Development, and the provisions in this bill and also 619, our reform bill, reflect the strong relationship we already have, but also solidifies it by having liaisons between our organizations. We're supportive.
Yes, please.
And anything that can be done from a structural or process perspective to speed up the opportunities to get in front of a prospect, understand what their workforce needs are, coordinate where some of the opportunities might be through the community technical college system. That's really the intent here, is to make sure that regardless of who's in these chairs, there is a process built, because the sooner we can actually work on the opportunities through our great programs, I think the better opportunities we have to win the project.
Very good. And I will tell you, these guys have heard this before. Representative Lockett, my goal remains as follows. Someone is in contact with the Cabinet for Economic Development. Secretary Knoll, or whoever his successor may be, says, hey, we've got a workforce issue. And at that moment in a conference room with that prospect, they can call up Dr. Quarles and say, hey, this is what we need. How long will it take to develop it? How long would it put the program on the ground, so that that prospect can hear exactly how committed Kentucky is to having a customized workforce and will deliver it. That's our goal. Fair enough?
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? And I know we've adopted PHS 1, and I think We have motion
Motion on the bill as amended by PHS 1.
and second, just to make sure. We've got a motion and second. Live bill. Seeing no other member seeking recognition, please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Yes.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson.
Yes.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowling. Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes, and I'm going to explain my vote by saying very much in favor of this and a companion on basically a reorg for KCTCS. And I want to thank both Secretary Knoll and Dr. Quarles. Both they and their teams have spent a lot of hours with us trying to understand these issues and how they complement each other and their respective issues for their own entities. I just appreciate the work. Thank you very much. House Bill 869, as amended by PHS 1, having received 20 yes votes, 0 no votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression. The same should pass on the floor. Thank you all very much. Next up, we have House Bill 619, an act relating to public post-secondary education, sponsored by Representative Josh Bray. You have been introduced. Representative Bowling, you've been introduced. Dr. Quarles, you've been introduced. Each of you have been placed under oath, and you remain so. Representative Bray, please proceed. We have, I believe, a PHS 3 on this
Motion
bill.
on PHS 3.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on PHS 3. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? PHS 3 is adopted. We now have before us House Bill 619 as amended by PHS 3. Representative Bray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Like we had discussed earlier, House Bill 619 is a reorg bill for KCTCS. In the 24 session, the Senate had passed Senate Joint Resolution 179, trying to address some of the issues identified in the Huron report. We have worked with Dr. Quarles for well over a year now, and this is the product of our work.
I have a motion and a second on the bill as amended. It is a live bill. Anything else further, Representative Bray?
Mr. Chairman, just thank you and thank Representative Bray for the consideration of our work across thousands of hours of our employees, faculty, and staff and students with Senate Joint Resolution 179. And this bill reflects the vast majority of our recommendations. We want to say thank you for that. We just celebrated almost 30 years in existence. Our organization continues to grow and change, and this piece of legislation prepares us for the next 30 years.
Very good. Representative Bojanowski, recognized for comment or question,
A question, if I may.
please.
Can you explain why a member of the board could move out of state and then remain on the board? It's on page 9.
Yeah,
of 7.
so that, when we looked at all of the issues with the board appointments and changing all that makeup, that was an issue raised as a possibility by the drafter. We decided to leave that in until that board seat became vacant in case there are meeting attendance requirements. We give the chair of the board the ability, the president the ability, if somebody's not showing up, if they were a Kentucky resident and for some reason had to move out of state, we left that in there until it became vacant.
Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? Seeing none, we have a live motion and a second on passage of the bill of 619 as amended by PHS 3. Please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Pass.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
I'd like to briefly explain my vote, please.
Please.
there's a lot to like here. Many of these changes I think are really thoughtful, and I understand a lot of them, but there are some things that give me great pause, and I'm concerned particularly about the ability to appoint and meet all the criteria in a time-sensitive way. I think that we can thread all those needles. I'm just worried how long it's going to take. So for that reason, I'm a no.
Thank you.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming. Yes. Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart. Yes. Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Yes. Representative Stevenson.
Pass.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowling.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes.
Work. Thanks, buddy.
House Bill 619 as amended by PHS 3, having received 17 yes votes, 1 nay vote, and 2 passes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you all very much. Next up, we have House Bill 356, sponsored by Representative Randy Bridges, an act relating to local government. If you will, to your right and left have already been introduced and placed under oath. If you'll introduce yourself for the record.
Representative Randy Bridges, representing the 3rd District.
Very good. If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. We have House Bill 356, and I think I may have gotten out of order. Sorry. Yeah. We have House Bill 356, and we do have a House Committee amendment.
Motion on the committee amendment.
I have a motion and a second on House Committee amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Committee amendment is adopted. We also have a PHS 2.
Motion on PHS 2 as amended by the committee amendment.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 2 as amended by House Committee amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We have approved the committee amendment and PHS 2 as amended. We have that before us on House Bill 356. Representative Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. House Bill 356 with PHS 2 and the amendment, it modernizes and strengthens the certification process for property valuation administrators to ensure qualified candidates and improve election integrity. It updates testing procedures, extends certificate validity, expands access to examinations, and establishes clear timelines for special testing when counties lack certified candidates. We currently have 2 counties in the Commonwealth that do not have a qualified candidate to run in this current election cycle. That is Rockcastle, which is Representative Bray's county, and also Caldwell County, which is Representative Walker Thomas's county. House Bill 356, it clarifies the pathways, the initial examination period, special examination, or an examination offered after the primary filing deadline if needed. It establishes a firm testing window. The amendment clarifies that the testing period begins no later than the first week of August, continues through the second Friday in December, and provides a predictable multi-month testing window.
I have a motion and a second on House Bill 356 as amended by PHS 2, which was amended by House Committee amendment. Representative Bridges, anything further?
No, sir.
Okay, very good. Representative Bojanowski, recognized for comment or question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. A question. Can you help me understand why PVAs would be shifted as far as their testing and not the circuit clerks?
Well,
Because that's the other
I understand.
elected position that has to have a
there
test
are-
before running for.
Okay. There are some statutory differences in those two. We did look at maybe combining them and shows that may be something later that we need to look at, but it was, it convolutes the different statutory sections we're trying to address here.
Thank you.
Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? And we have a motion and a second on the bill as amended by PHS and committee amendment. Please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
No.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
May I briefly explain my vote, please?
Yes, please.
I really appreciate some of the changes that were made in the sub, particularly limiting the number of times that a test taker can come take the test, so that you can't just take it over and over and over again. I think that was really thoughtful. But I do still have an issue with the length of the window being, I think it's 4 months from August to December. I'd like to see that be a little bit shorter, but I do understand that we need to get people prepared for the counties where they're not. So thank you. I'm currently a pass.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Two.
Representative Fleming.
Yes.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
I'll pass it this time.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson.
No.
Representative Thomas.
Thank you for your work on this, and I'm a yes.
Representative Truitt.
I'm a pass.
Representative Upchurch.
I'm gonna pass.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowling.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 35. House Bill 356 as amended by PHS2 with the House Committee amendment thereon having received 14 yes votes, 2 nay votes, and 4 passes will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass. We do have a committee amendment and a committee sub.
Motion to roll the committee amendment into the sub.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to roll the committee amendment into the sub. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is so rolled, and we also have a title amendment.
Motion on the title amendment.
Have a motion and a second on the title amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Title amendment is adopted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next up, we have House Bill 900, an act relating to government agencies, making an appropriation therefore and declaring an emergency. And if I have Representative Bowling and Representative Bray at the table, you remain under oath. And as you've introduced yourselves, there is a PHS 1 on House Bill 900.
Motion on PHS 1.
There is a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1. Whoa. All in favor of adoption of PHS 1? Aye. All opposed? PHS 1 is adopted. We have before us House Bill 900 as amended by PHS 1. Representative Upchurch.
Now make a motion for passage of House Bill 900 as amended by PHS.
I have a motion and a second for final passage of House Bill 900 as amended by PHS 1. It's a live bill. Representative Bojanowski, question or comment?
Yes. So, question.
Okay.
You know, I hoped when we saw the sub that it would have a little more detail than the original bill, and maybe you guys hoped the same, but that might just be where you are. Is there anything in the language of the sub that would prevent you from adding in a large appropriation towards retirement funds in the future before this becomes law?
there is nothing that would prevent that in this bill. And I would refresh that there is already through House Bill 500 an additional approximately 75 million that is being deposited to KRS non-has on that first draft that came out of the House. But there's nothing in here that would prevent us from doing that, especially as I and the rest of the world and you anticipate that this will probably end up in committee conference and then a free conference.
Thank you.
Any other members seeking question? Sorry, Representative Burke.
I am seeking a question, sir.
Very good, thank you.
I noticed the difference in the sub seems to just be the addition of $1 million for a fiscal year we've already passed. Could you just explain what that is, please?
Yeah, just trying to put that in place so everybody sees it. If you'll recall back in 2024, when first time we separated one-time appropriations from the operational budget bill, we had current year appropriations as well as biennium appropriations. So by putting this in, it puts it in play for everyone to know, look, we may have to look at current year. I anticipate there's likely one or more appropriations that were in the 24 bill that will require continuation, so non-lapse.
Thank you so much for the explanation. I appreciate it.
You are very welcome. Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? Seeing none, and we do have a motion and a second on the bill as amended. Live bill. Please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Pass.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
May I explain my vote?
Yes, please.
Voting on this feels like a trust fall because I can't see what I'm voting on and I'm asking whether or not I should take a leap. This isn't how I want to pass bills, and I appreciate that there's more process to come, but this isn't the right starting place, so I'm a no.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Yes.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Yes. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowling. Yes. Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 900 as amended by PHS, one having received 17 yes votes, 2 nay votes, and 1 pass, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you all very much. Next up, we're going to take House Bill 816, the Claims Bill, sponsored by Representative Stephen Rudy, who I believe may not have been able to make it today. Representatives Bowling and Bray, you remain as introduced and under oath. We do have a PHS 1 on House Bill 816.
Motion on PHS 1.
Have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1 on House Bill 816. All in favor? All opposed? PHS 1 is adopted. We now have before us House Bill 816 as amended by PHS 1.
Motion on House Bill 816 as amended by PHS 1.
Have a motion and a second on final passage of House Bill 816 as amended by PHS 1. I'm going to ask real quick to make sure. Barbie Dickens, General Counsel for Finance and Administration Council. Very good. Come on up if you will, please. And even though I asked for you by name, if you will, introduce yourself for the record. Make sure the green light is really green and the microphone's close to you.
I'm Barbie Dickens. I'm General Counsel of the Finance and Administration Cabinet.
Very good. If you will, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. And thank you for coming in on our request. And this is much like, or it's similar to what we have looked at in 2025, I believe. This is the claims bill. So for various reasons, and that can change from cycle to cycle, certain things may not have been paid, which need to be paid, and have to have special provision to do it through the claims bill in order to accomplish it. We have, I think back in February of 25, Secretary Holly Johnson and Executive Director Joe McDaniel from Office of Comptroller came over, and we talked about certain claims that were in the claims bill, did not have valid contracts in them. Invoicing had not occurred, and there may have been some very extenuated or extended timing issues. We're about a year later. We've got about 91 claims out of this batch that fall outside the 2-year window for payment. Of those 91, it's about 2/3 are from the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, about 61 of those 91 claims. Of the 61 claims by the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, 23 are identified as having no valid contract in place, which was a similar issue we addressed in 25. 10 claims are employee travel vouchers, which were not approved in a timely manner, which I know at least in the legislative, it's a pretty quick turnaround to get those vouchers in. I'm not sure what it is in the executive branch in these particular areas. Then we had an additional 8 claims. It looks like where employees left or changed duties and the follow-up was not there. So what I'm looking for is, much as I talked about in 25, in the 25 session, is there anything that we can do to tighten this up, whether it be by regulation, statutory change, additional training? Maybe there's already been steps taken and they've just not been fully implemented, and that's why we have these again. Is there anything that we, or us together, you and us, can do anything to cut down on this and make sure we've got contracts, they're timely filed, and we have a deadline by which they need to be, and there's proper follow-up? Anything?
Thank you, Chair Petrie. We definitely have upped our communications on deadlines to submit the information to statewide accounting services, and it has to be supported by documentation, so showing that it is a valid claim. But the major change, I think, that was implemented since the last time there was testimony on this is that the agencies have to also come forward with a corrective action plan that would indicate how they're going to remedy that and prevent it going forward.
Very good. Is there anything you need from us as a statutory change that we ought to pursue discussion over in the interim, or a regulatory change? Anything else in addition?
I don't think so. If
Okay.
you have questions on any specific claims, we do have representatives here from the other cabinets.
Very good. I don't know that we need to dig into that. I want to make sure that we just covered. I trust y'all to take corrective actions as you can. I will ask one further, though. What is the timeline for submitting travel vouchers in the executive branch, and is it different between cabinet to cabinet?
I don't know if there is a difference between cabinet to cabinet. I'm not sure I can get that answer for you.
What is the general time frame for it?
The travel vouchers, certainly if they're within the state, should be submitted certainly within 30 days. If they're out of state for any reason or whatever, they go through additional approvals, and they go through pre-approvals, but then it also may take a little bit longer to approve those due to the documentation.
Very good. Some of these, if I'm recalling right, may be stretching up on a 2-year type window for some of the travels. That ring true?
I would have to look at the individual claims to answer that question, but certainly we believe there's explanations for all of those situations.
Understood. I appreciate that very much. Any other members seeking recognition for a comment or question? Thank you again for coming in. We have a motion and a second on the bill. I think I recall. We have a motion and a second on the bill 816 as amended by PHS 1. Any other members seeking recognition? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Yes.
Representative Bridges. Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
Yes.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Yes.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson. Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams. Vice Chair Bowling.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 816 is amended by PHS 1, having received 20 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 0 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression. The same should pass on the floor. Thank you again for coming in and all that may have been in support. Thank you all very much. We're going to go back and pick up House Bill 9, an act relating to regulated substances and declaring an emergency. And I have a guest presenter, Representative Cook. If you will introduce yourself for the record, please.
Representative Matt Cook, 72nd District.
Very good. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. We still have Representatives Bowling and Braid to your left and right, and they remain under oath. And we do have on House Bill 9 a PHS 1.
Motion on PHS 1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? PHS 1 is adopted. We have before us House Bill 9 as amended by PHS 1. Representative Cook, if you just give us an overview of what's in the bill as amended.
Yes, sir. Covering the regulatory side first.
Okay.
We streamline the local regulatory license fees. This language is run through KLC and KCO, getting them both neutral on that. That includes audit language as well, looking back 1 year. Oh, sorry. And then looking back 1 year on the audit language, moving forward every 3 years as it goes forward from that. Requires testing of cannabinoid products by accredited laboratories. So you'll see in there a big part of the sub was the lab language, getting that in there in order to tax those correctly. We need to test those correctly. So that is a big part of doing this. Directs a portion of the state regulatory license fund. So that's the 4% that's added on at the end on the retail side. 0.5% of that total will actually go to support AWARE program. So think of problem alcohol, funds that support programs such as the prevention of underage drinking. Allows a donation of alcohol to state and national conferences. This is not political campaigns. Once they obtain a special auction language from the ABC. Modernizes the alcohol license application requirements and turnaround times. Reestablishes unique license based on the activity occurring, to bottling, sampling, etc. Also, probably the biggest part in this, strengthens penalties for sales to minors. 3 strikes within 2 years at the same retail locations, a lifetime ban on holding your alcohol license.
Motion on House Bill 9 is amended by PHS 1.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on House Bill 9 as amended by PHS 1, which makes it a live bill. And before going over to comments or questions, I know you hit mainly the regulatory side. On the tax side, I at least want to give a brief explanation of what's trying to be accomplished. Think of the alcohol industries in Kentucky. And wholesalers, distributors, retailers, and everybody else. Over decades, there's been an ad hoc development of tax schemas, which is very complicated, serves as some barrier to entry, it looks like, but very complicated and overly so, it seems. What we are attempting to do on the tax side is to almost completely do away with that thought process and change over to a tax upon a unit of substance. Get away from product differentiations such as wine, malt, distilled, and others. Product differentiations become almost, if completely irrelevant, and now a tax is applied per unit of alcohol. The same thing is that same methodology is being applied to other substances. So we're looking at THC, kratom, and then there are other substances and products that have been popping up in recent years, which very difficult to catch on the front end, and it takes us a while to develop a schema to deal with them. I'm hoping this methodology will allow us to catch those substances and products much faster and bring them into a regulatory regime. But again, do not take lightly what I just said. It is a different way of applying a tax and thinking about it. Do not care about the product type, but if it has a substance in it that's taxed and that substance is taxed, that unit is taxed at a particular rate. We have gone through some revisions of the rates, and that's part of what the PHS 1 is. to try to find the right rate. Alcohol industries are well formed, well heeled over time. They have longitudinal data. This attempts to be a revenue neutral-ish bill. And what I mean by that, the ish always makes people nervous. We do not want to lose money at it, but we're not trying to gain money at it. So as close as we can get to neutral, that's our target. There's pretty good data that's been shared with us and what we have publicly available on the well-historied alcohol industries. Not so much data on THC and others, and we will continue to work with those in those industries to make sure it is fair and equitable. Anything to add further, Representative Cook?
No, sir.
All right, we do have two people, I think, that have signed up on the bill. If in the room still, I have Jim Higdon wishing to speak on House Bill 9. Come on up to the table, if you will. We do need to keep comments brief. Everybody knows how that goes. But if you will, introduce yourself for the record. Make sure that green light is really green and the microphone is close enough to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jim Higdon. I'm co-founder of Cornbread Hemp in Louisville, Kentucky.
Very good. If you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. And proceed with your comments, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Chairman Cook. Members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak regarding HB 9. Cornbread Hemp supports HB 9 and appreciates all the work that the committee has done to modernize the regulated products tax scheme in Kentucky. We wish to see this improved by fixing 4 points of concern to the Kentucky hemp industry, and I'll do these really quickly and make sure we get these in time. One, we'd like to remove a duplicate retail fee. We appreciate that the THC fee is 1.6 per milligram. That achieves a parity with alcohol in this new scheme, but this fee appears twice as a wholesale fee in Section 2 and again as a retail fee in Section 3 on top of the 4% gross receipts fee, and so we would like to see one of these instances of 1.6 cents removed, presumably from Section 3. 2, we would like to reduce the retail license fee to align with alcohol. Cannabis-infused beverage retailers currently pay $2,000 per year. A quota retail package license for alcohol, by comparison, is $570. We believe that fee should be reduced to $570 to achieve parity. 3, we would like to exempt non-intoxicating products from the cannabinoid fees, CBD topicals, pet products, full-spectrum CBD products. Any product that's deemed non-intoxicating by the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, we would like exempted from the fees. And 4th, we would like to standardize along milligrams. Several instances in this bill related to THC mentioned milligrams or milliliters. We would like to standardize around milligrams for the purposes of convenience and to remove any chances of confusion. Thank you.
Very good. And I do want to say I appreciate you coming in with a small group once or twice and meeting with us in particular to go over some, if not all, of those concerns, and that has been helpful. We've tried to accommodate some of those already, and I think we will continue working with you and others throughout the process.
Really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Next up, I have Terry Bond, Jr., who signed up to speak on House Bill 9. Yeah, come on up to the table. And if you will, as before you, if you will make sure that light is really green, it's close to you, and if you'll introduce yourself for the record, please. Very good. If you'll raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Very good. Think he may try to assist you there. Perfect.
It was green, but it was not lit.
Really green. It has to be really green. Gotcha.
I have a brief statement. I'll try to make
You're
this
good.
quickly.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon. My name is Terry L. Bond, Jr. I'm a resident of Covington and co-owner of the Crazy Fox Saloon in Newport, Kentucky. My partner and I started our business 27 years ago, creating a vibrant and successful establishment while also renovating an 1880s building that houses it, becoming an asset to our local community. I'm here today to voice my opposition to House Bill 9, which would eliminate the excise tax and levy an additional 4% sales tax on alcohol beverages at the point of sale. There are a number of reasons I will spell out where I believe this proposal is detrimental. First, let me preface by saying that I know that distilleries in our state are facing profound headwinds, as are many other segments of the economy. Over the years, I've visited many of these businesses, and I wish to see them weather the current challenging environment. But any solution must be mindful of what inadvertent economic effects it might have on the wider state economy. For starters, I start with the basic question, who actually pays the excise tax? On the most superficial level, yes, it's the distilleries that write the check to the state. But where do they get that money from? The distilleries sell their product to distributors, who sell it to retailers, who finally sell it to the customers. The cost of the excise tax is folded into the price up front and passed along during each step of the three-tiered system. So ultimately, it is the consumer who foots the bill, and it always has been. I lost my place there.
You are fine. Please proceed at your convenience.
If the excise tax is lowered or removed, will this result in a lowering of wholesale prices? No, of course not. That money will be kept by the distilleries, and with the tax burden being shifted to the other end of the economic equation, the net result will be a functional price increase for the general public. You would be robbing Peter to pay Paul. What would be the result of this? Money-conscious consumers will probably end up drinking less or going to neighboring states if possible. So, despite the brief sugar rush that producers may feel by replacing the excise tax with an added sales tax, the actual result will be a further reduction in their market share. It's an economic death spiral, a vicious cycle that will further damage Kentucky's bourbon industry. Furthermore, the money generated by an excise tax is passed on to all consumers of that product throughout the U.S. and around the world. By shifting to a 4% sales tax throughout the state, you're removing the tax from everyone but the residents of Kentucky, who will now have to pay more to make up for the difference. So the tax burden that has been spread out and shared by all consumers internationally will now fall to Kentuckians alone. That makes no sense. Finally, while our state has many fine, small, and medium-sized distilleries fueled by dreams and ambitions, the largest bourbon houses are now owned by large foreign corporations. It would be these out-of-state interests that would stand to benefit the most from removing the excise tax, to the detriment of the people of the state, who will now have to pick up the tab. Let's be blunt. The current challenges facing our distilleries are rooted in ill-advised national economic policies, particularly tariffs. We all saw the footage of Canadian liquor stores removing American products from their shelves, including Kentucky bourbon. Sadly, this disaster will take a generation to recover from. The time, energy, and resources that have gone into House Bill 9 would be better spent on imploring the federal government to reverse course on the tariffs. History is filled with a long list of ebbs and flows, peaks and crashes in the economic arena. Bourbon itself has seen numerous booms and busts over the last 200 years. The test now is how we help this uniquely Kentucky industry without doing even greater damage to a much wider circle of businesses throughout the state. I'm here as the owner of a small neighborhood establishment to declare that House Bill 9 will hurt my business and untold others like me who are working every day and night to keep the lights on and the bills paid. Please don't throw us under the bus. Please vote no on House Bill 9. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, and thank you for staying under time. That was great. Also, you did.
I tried to get it.
Did really well. We have made some consideration. Those type considerations have been brought to us, and let you know this concept started well before any actions were taken at the federal level.
Oh yeah.
This is something entirely different. We take that into account as in weather patterns, but not a precipitating reason for it. And I understand your concerns, and we will continue to keep those in mind. We are reading those concerns differently and how it's going to play out. And I trust that you will get back in contact with us should this bill pass. And there are bad consequences you see. I hope you do remain in contact with us so we can attempt to address them if we can analyze them correctly and get them addressed.
Okay, and I'm always available. Yeah, reach out. If anybody would like a copy of the statement, I have some copies available.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Representative Bojanowski, recognition for a comment or question?
Question, please.
Yes, please.
So, effectively, this shifts through different decisions, taxing from the wholesalers, the manufacturers, to the retail consumer with the 4% tax. Could you just discuss the rationale for adding the 4% tax? I know you explained a lot of how the shifting within excise taxes and all of that, and I honestly don't understand it all. But it does, I mean, just in effect, it takes away taxes from wholesalers and shifts it to the consumer. Could you just explain the rationale for
So
that?
I'm going to try to catch part of that if I may. One, it is important to note at times what type of tax we're talking about. Sales tax versus excise tax versus regulatory license fee tax. They're all tax, but they can't be all treated the same or thought about the same. So the 6% sales tax, we can take it off the table to begin with because it exists currently and it would exist after this bill passes. So really no change there. You are correct in that the producer direct shipper, when you get to wholesaler distributor, there is still a tax at that middle. That's the 0.004 per milliliter of pure alcohol. So it's not a complete shift away. And then at the retailer side / direct shipper, you have regulatory license fees, which Representative Cook can go into even more, but those are, you might as well think of those as local taxes. We already have those in some jurisdictions. This tries to make it more uniform and incentivizes actually a lower tax rate by the way entities can use those funds, a broader spectrum of use. So actually trying to incent a lesser tax rate at that point at the local regulatory license. The 4% state regulatory license on gross receipts is something that's new that helps get us to the revenue neutralish target that I have. It doesn't shift all tax up to that, but that is a mechanism. Current system on tax seems to result in something like this. Producer direct shipper has a price and a certain tax. Up to wholesaler distributor, self-distributing producer direct shipper, there is a labyrinth of, okay, then there is another set of taxes and another price point that they have. And then that gets shipped up to the retailer direct shipper. What you end up with is almost so many pins in the pinball machine that it can only go through one route and end up with one price point, depending on whether it's a value brand, a premium brand, a malt, a distilled, a wine. And the retailers appears to have a very limited range of how they can price point. With this new system, it should introduce a variability in that pricing from first level to second level and up to the retailer that will allow an accommodation of pricing by the retailer that they don't have now. Representative Cook, you may have more on that.
Yes, sir. I'll go into the local regulatory tax fee on that currently already exist. We have some jurisdictions that adopted this with their alcohol sales, some that have not and never opted into it. So what we've done is we've capped it. So currently we have some cities that have gone as high as 8%. We are capping that now as going to be 5% local regulatory fee. So if you're above that number 5, you will come down to 5, and you will still use those funds for alcohol emergency services. If you're below 5, you are locked in. If you're below that and you come all the way down to 3, you may now use that 3%. You may now use all those funds for all emergency services. We're not going to limit you anymore. In a lot of the local cities, jurisdictions, we heard you. They wanted to have a broader span that they could use that for. So we said, fine, if you come all the way down to 3%, we'll allow you to use that for all emergency services. If you're one of the jurisdictions throughout the state that have not opted in or missed that opt-in for some reason in the past, we're going to allow you opt-in at 1%, and that those may be used for all emergency services. That also comes with the audit language, looking back 1 year and then going forward every 3 years on that, with penalties if you're found not using it for the emergency services.
Very good.
Clear as mud.
Representative Bojanowski, welcome to my world over the last year plus trying to sort all of this out. I am so hopeful in every candid way that I can be that this will be a much less complex schema than we have now, which will take out friction, take out cost, and give better pricing flexibility at all levels is my hope. And to stay revenue neutral-ish. Yep. Yes,
And
Representative
if I
Cook?
add to that, Chairman Petrie, a big part of this is also the regulation, right? We need to tax it by the alcohol by volume and looking at that, talking about the pure milliliter that's out there. But this is also about the long term and how we regulate it and simplifying how we're able to regulate these products, and not just alcohol, but it's hemp, it's kratom, it's every new product that keeps coming in line. And this helps us put the framework together to be able to manage that into the future for products that we don't even know. They're not even on the market yet. And this gives us the framework to piece that together and move forward with this all together, the taxation and the regulation.
Very good. Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? Representative Stevenson? Yeah, please.
I believe I understand the purpose, but I don't
Make sure your mic is close to you. I'm having a hard
And
time
I've
hearing
had
you.
practice.
Thank you.
I believe I understand the question. I'm trying to understand, have we done anything inside of this bill to take care of the concerns of the gentleman that just spoke? Because it seems like, one, it is being passed away from corporations to the consumer. And then number two, that the small businesses that are barely making it but make Kentucky rich are not being taken care of.
There are two fronts on this. One, I mentioned earlier, there is incentive to bring down the.
I asked him.
I understand. Sometimes I just butt in. So, one, I'd mentioned before, there is an incentive to reduce that local regulatory fee so they can use the money more broadly at the local level. Hopefully that will reduce that fee. Also, the price points at the first, second, and third levels, this should introduce greater flexibility. And then the last thing I would say, we have tried to accommodate as best we can all along each of the steps. But if the first and second level try to take advantage of the situation and the price points do not become flexible, although it sure seems like it would from many hours of conversations, if they do that, then they're basically cutting off their noses to spite their faces, because the retailers are the essential piece of the entire sets of industries. There's really no natural incentive for them to go against those retailers and not introduce that price point flexibility.
Thank you.
And I did butt in, Representative Cook, and Representative Stevenson was looking at you when she asked the question. Anything further?
You're the tax expert.
I just butted in, that's all. All right. Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? Seeing none, we do have a motion and a second on House Bill 9 as amended by PHS 1. Please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
No.
Representative Bojanowski.
Pass.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
I'd like to explain my vote, please.
Yes, please, briefly.
I am in favor of the concept, but the communication we received from ABC about their concerns with the bill, partnered with a business in my district that has cannabis-infused beverages in their portfolio. They have issues. I need for us to work a little bit more so I can be a yes.
Thank you.
Representative Dietz.
No.
Representative Fleming.
Explain my vote, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please, briefly.
Thank you. I am a yes on this. I just wanted to recall this is a very innovative, revolutionary solution to a very complicated, complex structure that I think it really simplifies the way we can handle the unit, if you want to call it that, in terms of making things a little more standard. So I believe in the simplicity, the efficiency of our tax structure, and this is a good approach. And I believe even the The Brown Formans and the Stillers of the world, they have bought into it. They understand it. There are some things in there they might want to change, but for the most part, they like the concept and the approach, and I think it's very workable. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson.
I'm sorry, was it a no?
It was a no.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
I'm a yes today, but I would like to talk to you about the microbreweries and the distributor wording in there before we get to the floor. Thank you.
Vice Chair Bowling. Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 9 is amended by PHS 1, having received 15 yes votes, 3 nay votes, and 2 passes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. Thank you very much. Last up, we're going to take House Bill 757, and we have Representatives Bowling and Bray remaining at the presentation table and remain under oath. And if y'all give me just a moment to swap paperwork around. House Bill 757, we do have a committee amendment.
Motion on the committee amendment.
We have a motion, a second on adoption of the committee amendment to the PHS 1. On the committee amendment, all in favor? Aye. All opposed. Committee amendment is adopted. We do have PHS 1. I have a motion and a second for adoption of PHS 1 as amended by House Committee Amendment. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? We now adopted. We now have House Bill 757 as amended by PHS 1 with committee amendment thereon. An act relating to revenue measures and declaring an emergency, and I'm going to try to summarize what is going on with what is affectionately referred to as the revenue bill. So there are portions of 757 as amended which try to address affordability issues, placing certain moratoriums on some property taxes, most importantly personal property, utility, and occupational, but basically just a moratorium. We have several sections that are on Internal Revenue Code where we call that conformity. With HR 1 and other things, we have conformity issues, and there are some decouplings that we do that, and this is what we do every year with the revenue bill. It's just a question of what are the issues in any given cycle. We have some new revenue proposals, sales tax and excise taxes, new services and activity in the Commonwealth, mainly data brokering, which is a sales tax issue, fantasy contests, which would be a new excise tax, and predictive markets, which would be a new excise tax. We also have some expansion of EV charging stations throughout the Commonwealth. We're making sure that there is an annual license fee, and the Department of Ag would be required to inspect those charging ports, somewhat like they do for weights and measures and other subject matters. We also, as everyone is well aware, billions in annual tax expenditures as the Office of State Budget Director reports pursuant to the executive branch budget bills. We have talked for years about the best process to get to these hundreds of expenditures of all types, tax expenditures. We are dipping our toe in and trying to sunset and terminate a few, and I hope that we have even greater effort and results and success in this interim. Anybody that wants to join that endeavor, please sign up. We're welcome for more hands and brains on this. Also have several cleanup provisions from the Department of Revenue, and I'll thank them. They have worked with us probably for over a 2-year period, off and on, met with us multiple times. They have a lot of cleanup requests to remove friction, streamline processes, and make it easier in some senses to get refunds back out to people. That's a big overview. I am not going to run everybody through the doldrum of every single section. I've tried to cover the major topics. If there's any questions on anything in particular, I'll be glad to try to field those, or Representatives Bowling and Bray will. With that,
Motion on House Bill 757 as amended by PHS 1 as amended by the committee amendment.
we have a motion and a second on House Bill 757 as amended by PHS 1 with House Committee amendment thereon. It's a live bill. Representative Bojanowski, recognition for comment or question?
Question, please.
Please proceed.
Okay, so this is in reference to sections 73 through 77, which effectively, with the exception of real property, lock school boards from increasing any sort of taxes, whether it be occupational, personal property, et cetera. Could you explain the rationale? I mean, when I first read it, I thought school boards couldn't raise any tax, and then I was in a panic. But I do understand that this does not impact real property tax, only all the others. Could you explain why?
And you are correct, and I appreciate you coming quickly to me, I think, on the House floor one day, said, just please clarify this for me, and I appreciate that. On those, as you stated, real estate taxation is not affected in this bill for school districts. They may still take certain rates and have what I call a safe 4%, which normally will increase their revenues, but they will call it a compensating rate and other types of rates. We have tried to make sure that on the real estate side that there are some different reporting requirements so that taxpayers understand that if you leave a rate the same, or if you were to take a lesser rate, there may still be an increase in revenues, which means they may still pay more in tax. That's simply a reporting set of mechanisms. It has nothing to do with the change in the taxation structure. On personal property, occupational tax, and utilities, the utilities in particular for me are an affordability issue. We have very few districts, school districts across the state that utilize each of these three types of taxes other than real estate. Utilities are a straight hit to affordability for most people. We have few jurisdictions involved. We want to make sure that we place a moratorium so that rates don't change and new districts don't jump in. The same thing is somewhat true on the personal property side. It's a much more complicated issue because there's many more players in personal property, but it does have an affordability aspect. The occupational tax side has an affordability issue, but it also has an additional aspect in that as the Commonwealth of Kentucky decreases its individual income tax rate, which helps on affordability, if we have an occupational tax at the local level that continues to increase, basically the space we're vacating and the assistance we're giving to residents of Kentucky may be either reduced or eliminated by an increase in occupational tax by a school board. We have on target to look at the same thing for every other entity that levies or attempts to levy these types of taxes, but in light of some issues with JCPS and Fayette County, these were three issues we thought best to place a moratorium on fast, leave the real estate completely open. And I will remind everyone that real estate taxation interacts with SEEK, and SEEK is the only, it directly interacts with SEEK, and it is the only mechanism by which we can deal with disparities of richer and poorer districts. So we've allowed that to remain as is.
If I may ask another question?
Yes, please.
Okay, so Section 90 shuts down the equalization support of nickels levied by school districts. So, and it puts a 20-year end on current nickels. So how could this potentially, and I mean, I understand nickels as much as what I just said. So how can this potentially impact school districts' abilities to secure bonds for capital construction?
So first off, actually it may help in the end. So that first off, provide that equalization funds terminate upon the earlier of 20 years or the date the bonds are retired. So that's just a quick summary of at least part of that. So nickels generally are relative to projects within a public school district in this context. And we think we've identified some nickels that are receiving equalization by the Commonwealth of Kentucky taxpayers for which the bonds may have been already retired and not sure why there's equalization still going on. And 20 years is a general rule of thumb for how long bonds should be issued out in the first place. So just making sure that when nickels are equalized, so a local nickel placed through one of several mechanisms, the state equalizes a nickel, that it lasts for the term that it's supposed to last and doesn't go on indefinitely past what its stated purpose was to begin with. We have, does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay.
And I have one more, if I may.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the section on TIFs, can you explain the end impact of this legislation on TIFs? So it sunsets all of the TIF programs. What impact will that have?
So the way I approach that is as follows. Of course, tax increment financing is what we're talking about when we say TIF. And at last count, there were 20-something TIF contracts that had been approved and that I understood through Cabinet for Economic Development. I'm not sure if it's in the low 20s still. This really doesn't address those TIFs. It addresses future TIFs. So we're basically sunsetting the program.
Thank you.
Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? Representative Lockett?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a quick point of clarification, if you will.
Yes,
just
please.
So I'm clear and so those that are listening are clear. Could you explain one more time very briefly with bullet points in terms of the OLT and how that will affect some place like Fayette County?
So occupational license tax, is that what you're referring to? Okay. Occupational license tax in the context of public school districts. School districts, there are, I want to say 8 to 10, but there may be more than that across. It's relatively small across the state. And we are placing a moratorium on public school districts' ability to jump in and create an occupational license tax for the first time or increase their rates. If they choose to decrease or get out of the occupational license tax, perfectly fine. But no increases and no new taxes in that vein.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Representative Stevenson, recognition for a comment or a question?
Question.
Yes, please.
Shall I look this way?
Whichever one.
Here's my question. It talks about, I want to be sure I understand. It talks about premium cigars. Currently, if you can buy a $100 cigar, you pay $15 tax. So it'll be $115 for a smoke. This says from now on, if you buy a $100 cigar, you only pay 60 cents in tax. Did I read that correctly, and what's the rationale?
Well, you started looking toward the table, even though you looked at me first. So I'm not going to ping you back up to the table. How about that? Representative Bray will have more information on that.
Absolutely. So you are correct. We do have it tied to a CPI so that it's not always going to be 60. That's going to go up with the Consumer Price Index. It's a competitive issue. We've got states surrounding Kentucky that have caps on premium cigar tax. Ohio, Indiana, a few others. And so it's just putting us more in line with our neighbors on this particular issue. There was a Supreme Court case a few years back that made the distinction between premium cigars in that they're not necessarily as detrimental to the health as cigarettes, and that's what's kind of spurred this along.
Can I follow up?
Please, thank you.
You reference other states and their caps on $100 cigars. What are the caps of the other states?
So the one that comes top of mind first, Ohio, which is the one we've kind of looked at. Theirs is capped at 64 cents, so we're at 60, which is comparable. We have a CPI so that it will go up in the future. So we're just putting us in line with kind of what some of our neighbors are doing there.
And last question.
Please.
Okay. So it'll never get back up to 15%. I mean $15 if you have $100.
That
but
is-
okay. And Do you have the same, and I don't know because I haven't had a chance to read all of this, do we have the same taxing for essentials where we reduce the tax for diapers or necessities of families in this revenue bill?
So within this revenue bill, there's nothing that discusses any of anything you had mentioned there.
Okay.
No. No.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? Representative Fleming?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a clarification as well. I think on page 26 and 29, it deals with corporation individuals. And it basically includes interest deduction under 26 USC, amounts paid to qualified lenders. That's conformity to HR 1.
I may have to talk with you offline because I'm not sure which one you're referring to.
Okay, that'd be good. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Any other members seeking recognition for comment or question? Seeing none, we have House Bill 757 as amendment of PHS 1 with House Committee amendment thereon, and a motion is second on the bill as amended. Please call the roll.
Representative Banta.
Yes.
Representative Bojanowski.
Pass.
Representative Bridges.
Yes.
Representative Brown. Representative Burke.
Can I please explain my vote?
Yes, please, briefly.
There's a lot of good stuff here, and I'm honestly quite pleased with many of these measures. I would like for us to please have an opportunity to talk about some of the further, you all call it decoupling, I'm going to call it conscious uncoupling from the federal tax law. Kentucky has an opportunity to bring in more revenue by further decoupling from certain provisions, and there are just a handful, I think 4, that would really increase our revenue and not negatively impact hardly any Kentuckians at all. Thank you. So I'm a pass.
Representative Dietz.
Yes.
Representative Fleming.
Yes.
Representative Freeland.
Yes.
Representative Fugit.
Yes.
Representative Hart.
Yes.
Representative Lockett.
Aye.
Representative McPherson.
Yes.
Representative Riley. Representative Stevenson.
Pass.
Representative Thomas.
Aye.
Representative Truitt.
Yes.
Representative Upchurch.
Yes.
Representative Williams.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bowling. Vice Chair Bray.
Aye.
Chair Petrie.
Yes. House Bill 757 as amended by PHS 1 with House Committee amendment thereon, having received 17 yes votes, 0 nay votes, and 3 pass votes, will be reported with favorable expression that same should pass on the floor. And we do
Motion to
have
roll Committee Amendment 1 into PHS 1.
have a motion and a second to roll the amendment into the PHS 1. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Committee amendment is rolled into PHS 1. Thank you all very much. We are adjourned.